And I want to start with a public comment agenda item. Please keep in mind that this is a business meeting of the Water Works and Lighting Commission and not a public hearing. Persons who wish to address the commission may do so, but should not expect to engage in discussion with the commissioners or expect commission employees to answer specific questions during the public comment. Individuals will be allowed to speak in the order in which they have signed up, and the public comments will be limited to 3 months per individual. We will start with the addition and corrections to the agenda as mailed.
Well, let Mike speak first. I think, Mike, did you put in a speaking?
Oh, do you want that first?
Yeah.
I can do that. Mike, Zerfu has given us a thing. Would you like to speak, Mike?
Yes, I would. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I don't know who to get answers to questions from sometimes. I don't know if I can get them. One of the things I'm wondering is who sets the policy under the open records law. I made requests in the past and was able to get what I wanted. And since my letter to the newspaper, now there's a charge for that. I've asked Joel Matthews a couple times. He said, we have decided. I've asked who we is, and I've got no response. I've asked that at least 3 or 4 times with no response. One of the things when charging for that now, they said we decided it's in the best interest of the ratepayers, and I think everything should be in the best interest of the ratepayers. A couple meetings ago, there was a conference that some individuals were going to, 2 female and 2 male, and they were getting 4 separate rooms. I checked with an employee of the Riverview Hospital, and their policy is if they're going and it's 2 males, the hospital provides 1 room. If I'm going with John Doe and I want my own room, then I pay for my own room. If John Doe wants his own room and the cost of the hotel room is $100, they'll give me a $50 credit, and they'll give John Doe a $50 credit, and we'd have to pay the difference. That one conference would have saved, I think, the ratepayers over $2,000. I think that's something that needs to be looked at how we can save the ratepayers money. I'm assuming they go to a lot of conferences, and that's just plain common sense business, especially in this market, in my opinion. The other question I would ask, and I don't know who to get answers, how do I get on the agenda to talk about some things at this meeting where I could actually get answers? I would appreciate that. And the last thing I want to talk about was, this is from Joel, I believe I got it from Joel Matthews. It was regarding a heat advisory reconnects, and it says on July 1st, the national, well, the bottom line is, rather than reading it, you guys have probably seen it, and that, because when I try to get answers to stuff, a lot of times Joel Matthews will say, well, the ratepayers. I've heard that so many times. We're trying to save the ratepayers money and the limited resources we have, is what he says. And I have that in emails. Yet, there's enough resources to try to contact people that have been disconnected. Now, I know that's a goodwill thing, but you guys are in the business, you're a publicly held company. I believe you're in the business of providing water and electric public services. You're not in the business to worry about people, there's health and stuff like that. There's other services out there through the county. And you talk about the ratepayers, how much time is involved there. And according to this, what they do is reconnect, call the people, see if they have a health problem, and then if they say yes, okay, we'll reconnect you, and then we'll disconnect. Yet to get the water disconnected, we can't do that. We're too busy, yet we're going around looking for reasons to reconnect people. And I just think that's not in the best interest of the ratepayers. So I don't know who I get these answers from, where I could actually get on the agenda, but I would appreciate an answer to that down the road, so where I could actually get some answers to these questions. Thank you for your time.
Approval, additions, or corrections to the agenda is mailed.
I move to approve the agenda as posted and placed on file.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval, additions, and corrections to the minutes of the regular commission meeting on August 14th.
I move to approve the minutes for the August 14th meeting and place on file.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the special commission meeting held on September 6th.
I move to approve the special meeting on September 6th, the minutes for that meeting and place on file.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Focus on energy.
They are running a few new promotions this fall for specifically targeting industrial customers. So we have some special incentives.
I'm happy.
Customers can reserve a reservation code if they want to take advantage of those incentives. And then they also have some special incentives going on right now for like gas station canopy lights. So if anybody has questions about those, obviously they can come my way and I will help them through that process.
Okay. Filter plant modification bids.
We went out and had, SEH went out and had bids prepared for our filter plant modification. And as a result of that, we had a bid opening. And as a result of that, are printed out here. And I guess after talking with our engineering group and looking over the bids, we elected to go with, and my recommendation also is to go with Eagle Construction out of Wisconsin Rapids for $488,900. That's
Now, this is the filter plant project, again upstairs, where we're changing the way we treat, going away from the lime and alum and using a polymer and a caustic soda. It has drastically reduced our expenses up there. This was a budgeted item for this year. I think the budget was right under $1 million, so this is actually be significantly less than what we actually budgeted because we took a few things out of the project once we got it all sorted out. So it's coming in about half of what we expected it to.
Also, it's a safety issue, isn't it? With the alum,
Well, the lime is kind of a hassle at times. It's not a safety issue, it's just,
it's more efficient than what we're doing now.
What's the revenue reduction to the wastewater treatment plant facility resulting from the changeover?
we've,
Well, actually, we'll be sending less waste to them as a result of it.
Right, so what's the expense reduction to the utility?
Right.
What is, I'm asking the
it's,
question.
it's
About $200,000 a year,
200,000 annually lost revenue to the city? Okay.
but savings for water and light.
Mhm.
I have a question about the meters. You have a deduct in this bid for alternate manufacturer of magnetic flow meters. And the base is, it says a Toshiba meter. Is that, it claims it's the only one at the moment that's,
We're trying to match what we have already.
oh.
We have Toshiba meters already, trying to stay with a common source item.
Sure.
And by going with the Toshiba meter, their parameters of how they have to be mounted in the piping system allows us to bring the valves above the floor, which simplifies some of the piping.
So the option was everybody had to use a Toshiba meter in their quote.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
May I have a motion for the bid?
I'll make a motion, accept that bid.
And a second.
Well, I'll second for Eagle Construction
Okay, and all
for
in favor?
$488,900.
Okay. All in favor?
I'll abstain from voting.
Okay. You have that?
Yes, I do.
Roxanne? Okay. Now for the training requests, which are back further in our, can't remember who is it? Was it Kurt? Were you the one that had the training?
Kurt and
Yes.
Jeff had one for Tasia, I think.
Okay. Do you want to do both of them at the same time or just separately?
Any questions about, I think there was a write-up on each one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
They're pages 7.5 and 7.7.
Okay. The first one is for Tasia Florence to go to NISC Regional Workshop to learn modules on accounting application.
I'll move to approve Tasia to attend the conference.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff, you said the other one was on 9?
7.7, it's on Kurt's, right on the bottom.
Okay. That's on a meeting. All in favor of the meeting?
6. Gotcha.
I move to approve Kurt's attending the meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Great Lakes Utilities.
Several meetings this month, a lot of them having to meet, meeting with the Western members and kind of familiarizing them with power supply planning and how that happens, and a lot of this is being done in order to integrate their load with the existing power supply committee. So those meetings were beneficial. I think out of that group, we've now gotten 4 of the 7 to actually assign their power supply contracts to Blue, so they'll be administering those. There was an update on the wind project. It was purchased by Rockland Partners, is now the owner. As you know, Blue is going to buy the output along with one other entity, and they're expecting it to be online at the end of January. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you. We'll start next with the safety department, the safety committee.
I have a question. In the past, we had some representation, was it from NEUW, that did the safety training? She was here almost every meeting.
Correct.
Are we gonna have something like that again?
Yes, they have replaced the person, and he actually made his first stop, just come and say hi to me and Todd, so we expect him fully to be on board next month at our meetings, and what he has, like 2 or 3 days a month, he'll be here in Rapids.
I tried to get him here today, Tom, but he had already made commitments in Marshville.
Okay, I just hadn't heard if,
Yeah.
I thought I saw in some of the bulletins
That
that,
took a while, but
That
they finally
somebody
got some
was-
people hired, yes.
Yeah.
all right.
May we have a motion?
Well, we
We
don't,
don't need any more?
no, we don't need to approve, but.
We don't have to approve, that's what I asked before and misunderstood you.
It's okay.
That was Chris Zwicky that they hired for safety.
Okay.
Okay. Line superintendent.
I have a question. It's started work on Midwest Cold Storage 3-phase.
Right, that company's on 32nd Street, they're expanding, building another cooling facility. We actually powered that up yesterday.
Okay, is that something that we provide for them, or do they have to pay for us to?
Well, they're paying for us to install another transformer and then the cabling from our main line to the transformer.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, those 4 squirrel deals, were those where we had the cages or?
Not where we had the cages, no. So we do have money in next year's budget. We've have the budget almost prepared. I think that's probably next month that we will review it, and there is a line item there for more squirrel guards.
Okay.
Water department report?
I have a question. Working on city replacing water main on First Street North. When's the complete date of that, or is it done?
We're hoping to be out of there by end of next week. We ran into a little bit of rock yesterday and stuff, but their projected goal is to be out by the end of the week.
I see it. And I also see that you had to replace a valve. Is that something that was discovered when you, or was it a accident?
Bad valve.
Okay. And again, we talked about the quote for the filter plant. and that you're working on that. When is the completion date for the filter plant?
I believe the original contract or agreement was in the end of February, had to be done.
End of February, okay. Thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions? Office manager report.
He's got something in there about currents and waves, and I'd like to comment on that too. I thought that was well written. I think
Joel and his team put that
I think
together.
everybody ought to read it.
And the 30-day arrears, I see it up, well, like you mentioned, quite a bit.
Yep.
And you said something about the July, that the sales were higher over those few months. And do you feel that that's going to be brought back into shape?
As it works its way through the aging, yes.
Okay.
That 30-day arrears is just, it's simply a function of the higher sales of preceding month.
I see. We brought up about the heat advisory reconnects. Is that something we do as charity, or is that something that, I know that the SEC, our
PSC.
what is it?
PSC.
PSC makes us conform to certain things that, like the shut-off times and the reconnect times. Is this something that is regulated, or is this something that?
It absolutely is. What the PSC code says is that when a heat advisory is issued, we cannot disconnect, okay? It goes on to say that we must reconnect any occupied residence where the elderly, the young, or anyone with a medical situation who might be threatened by the high heat conditions is in that occupied residence. So for us to actually determine that those conditions are present in each one of those occupied houses would be way more time consuming than just going out and reconnecting them. So that's the decision that we make. But it's in order to comply with PSC regulation.
I can't acknowledge.
Mike has a question.
Yes, I checked with, I think it's David Ludwig at the PSC, and he said, you may be right, Joel, I'm just telling you what he said, that once it's disconnected, you don't have to reconnect. That's what my understanding is, talking to the PSC. So my question, I'm sorry, if I can ask my question is, then what do you do come winter? If they haven't paid and they're still under, reconnect them for the winter?
We attempt to work out a payment arrangement with them.
I'm sorry, if you don't mind if I come up here, I have a hearing problem, I apologize if I can just hear.
What we do is attempt to work out a payment arrangement with them.
Which is another thing the PSC requires us to do at this point.
So you're required, I don't know if I'm out of order here.
Well, I can tell you, you're required to work out a payment, you have to provide service.
If they come to you, correct?
No.
You're going, the way I read that, you're going looking to them.
No, that's not correct.
So I'm confused, how do you work, you offer them a payment agreement, or they come to you asking for it?
In what situation are you talking about? Are you talking about the end of the moratorium? Or at the beginning of the moratorium, you're talking about the heat reconnect advisory?
Both, I guess, I'm talking
Because
about.
they're two different situations.
Well, I'm talking about the heat advisory, and then if they were disconnected in April or whenever you guys are allowed to in the spring, So after they're disconnected, then you have to, even after they're disconnected, work out a payment agreement with them?
That's absolutely correct.
And that's as for the PSC?
Correct.
So what if they don't come to you? Do you have to offer that?
If they don't come to us as the moratorium begins at the end of October, we're required to go out to those service addresses and determine whether they're occupied. If they're occupied, we must offer them a deferred payment agreement to get them back on.
Maybe I'm not hearing you, but I'm saying if they're disconnected in the spring, so you haven't, now come October, when the moratorium goes into effect, but somebody stayed in there, do you have to reconnect them?
I just answered that.
Yeah, we've been over this, Mike, so your 3 minutes were up, we answered your questions, I'd like you to have a seat so we can finish our meeting, please.
So it's a yes or no question, do you have to? Say a lot of times.
The answer again is we have to offer them a deferred payment agreement.
If they come to you,
No,
you have to try to search them down.
that's correct. At the end of the disconnection season, we're required to go to those addresses, determine if they're occupied. If they are, we must offer them a DPA.
Okay.
The next
Move on to the
committee
next topic.
meeting will be on the Director of Finance.
You know, on the power cost adjustment clause, you're saying because of the 1.5 cent adjustment clause is gonna reap better benefits for the September billing? Is that,
For the August billings, they.
for the August billings that'll go out and whatever?
Correct, so, I mean, I'm starting to do the preliminary close for August, and the numbers are positive at this point. We'll review them next month, but things are turning around with that PCAC and the increased sales.
We okayed this already.
Are there any other questions? Okay, then, Information Systems Administration?
Yeah, I have a question. How does the IT trouble at the city reflect on you or cause you problems?
We actually, the city
You-
contracts through us for IT
Okay.
support.
I guess I remember that now that you brought it up.
Okay, Conservation Manager?
Again, I said last month, Kurt's doing a really good job with the wastewater treatment plant, and I know there's been electricity savings of $30,000 at least, I think, through June, so thanks for the help.
And that's where there's additional training to look at different power rates, user rates for our customers. We can evaluate that based on how we're set up now, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things to do, but right now, people all go on time-of-day rates, they don't really coincide well with our peaks, and so if we button those up and kind of create rates that reward customers at the same time not hurting our margin, that would be beneficial to both of us, so that's, they're taking advantage of what we have, but at them taking advantage of what we have actually hurts us a little bit right now.
I think Water and Light is very different from most businesses. The fact that we actually go out and try to help the different companies to save money, which means if they save money, it means we lose money by not having to sell them as much electricity. And I think that's commendable. But I said it's very unusual. You don't find that in most companies. Engineering supervisor.
Todd, were you able to find out how we reached or what caused the high peak?
It was temperature, that was one of the hottest days in the summer, so air conditioning load was the key factor in that.
That and having all of your customers now in our system has probably pushed that up a little too. But it was mainly the heat, that's correct.
Go ahead, Mike.
So wouldn't it be easy when people, if they fill out an application, to say if they've got a health issue then? That would save you guys. No, I'm serious.
I thought you had an engineer.
Wouldn't that be, that'd just save you guys, I just saved the
I'll
rate.
be happy to ask answer an engineering question if you have one, that's what I thought you had.
I have a question regarding the ocean spray issue. I was carbon on a number of email exchanges that happened around the 14th. What was the total time frame that they were down from when they got that reconnection of the fiber line?
Well, there's a few things, Mayor, that we should talk about with that. The fiber line and the phone line, it was a line that was a private line of theirs. It went from their old plant to their office building. From what I understood, all it was doing was providing information in the office of the actual manufacturing process in the plant. It was an inconvenience to them because their office staff had to go to the plant to actually monitor what was happening instead of pulling it up on their computer. So I don't believe production was affected.
Do we know when that line got repaired then?
So the contractor that we hired to do our boring hit that line, I believe it was on a Tuesday morning, and we had to redig up the line, and then they had to bring Solaris in to repair it. It probably took, I would think, 3 days before we were able to find the line, prepare it for them, and then for them to fix it.
Phone line was.
The phone line was done that day. It wasn't until after that they said the fiber line must have been damaged as well. So,
General manager report.
We said anything about your picture? No.
No questions, we'll go to correspondence. John, do you have any correspondence?
There aren't any correspondence today.
Okay. Review of accounts payable. I just want to say, Jeff, your waves account was excellent. And I hope that every person that gets it in their mail reads it. Because then they can appreciate how much our municipality is taking care of the staffing and the benefits and all that, and still making it better for the people, our ratepayers.
On page 5, I have a question. It's the ESRI licensing renewal. What is that?
That's our GIS software.
Same one I was going to ask.
I don't think I had any other ones.
I got one on page 9. The July monthly lawn maintenance, is that the average for July?
We pay a fixed charge, right, Dale?
I think that's the standard set rate we have, each month is the same.
It is.
Like, I think the 3-year contract.
Includes snow removal out front and everything else too.
It's just a 16th Street location then?
Correct.
It's not
We do-
any substations or
We
pump
do,
houses?
we won't let a contractor in the subs, we do that ourselves.
Okay.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ellen Dahl for her years and years of service to Water and Light as Commissioner. This is officially her last meeting. At least the 5.5 years that I've been here, I thought she's done an extraordinarily good job as a Commissioner, and I'd just like to thank her on behalf of all the employees of Water and Light for a job well done.
Thank you. Thank you. I was going to mention that I'm completing my 15th year as a commissioner. My husband had 10 years as a commissioner and worked here 2 years, which means between the two of us, we had 27 years at Water and Light, and I feel it's very special to me. And I think the commission has done a really good job in keeping our electrical costs down, and the employees do an efficient and reliable job keeping the lights on. So thank you very much. And I'll now have a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I have a question first. May I ask, please, when Mr. Zerflo speaks, is he speaking for himself or for an organization?
Want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, I'm a member of a couple of organizations, I'm speaking for myself.
Thank you.
We adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I believe that Joe Kozicki was not here today. That was an excused absence.